was just a boy, my mama said, son, there's more to life than just the girls and fun. Gotta pay your dues like your daddy did. It put him in the grave, but that's the way it is. Wish I didn't know now what I didn't know then. The mean old boss, well, he ain't no friend. Watching my life going down the drain. This job of mine is like a ball and chain. I hate the job, I hate the pay. Run myself a rag, I get till my die.
All right. Hey, what's going on? I'm on this camera. Good morning. I'm Doug, and welcome to Doppler'S Gear Garage. Super excited to be here today. I'm going to switch over to this for just a quick second. There we go. Looking forward. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Braxel, great to see you, my friend. Hello, hello, hello. Hang on. There we go. Let's get this a little bit more like that. Ski you. Reduce you a little bit so I've got a little bit more room over here. There we go. My wife and I went on Sunday to only look at a puppy, and we wound up coming home with a 1.7-pound toy chihuahua like our passed away Isabel with similar markings. Her name is Peaches. Welcome to the family, Peaches. The first official mascot of Doppler'S Gear Garage, Peaches. Please send us a photo through. That's great. Congratulations. Looks so bad when a 59-year-old cannot type. Tell me about it. On some days, I'm kind of like, what the heck did I learn to do? In any case, congratulations. Well, the great thing is we're going to be doing some backwards spelling today, so let's see what happens. Congratulations again. Shredwood, what's going on, my man? Just finished my coffee, and now I'm playing with my Eventide H9. It's so wild. Congratulations. That sounds awesome. I must admit, first of all, just a quick heads up, little housekeeping. I'm not going to be here next Saturday or the Saturday after that. I believe the Saturday after that. The first Saturday I'm going to be back is going to be the 29th. So in any case, I look forward to seeing all of you then. In the meantime, it's going to be a slightly shorter show. I've got a video to shoot today that I've got to get out the door. But I guarantee you I will do my best to pack in as much useful information as I possibly can. So Shredwood, per your comment, my good friends over at Strymon are going to be sending along the brand new Timeline MX for me to review, and I'm besides myself to check this thing out. I heard like 2 seconds of Pete Thorne's demo. I was like, okay, awesome. The tones are nuts. H9, I've got an H9 and H90 over there. The Eventide stuff is so good. Congratulations, and obviously have fun because you already are. Dennis, good morning. How are you? I asked you last time, are you in the Bay Area, and have we met in person? That's what I want to know. I need to figure that out. Albert, there we go. Yes, it's a Mabuhay kind of day. And Albert, later I will kind of read you in on the inside next level of this. I can't yet, but you're going to laugh because the irony is hilarious. In any case, Griffin, good morning. Where's the bourbon and the cigar for the bluesy licks? Very kind. You know, the funny thing is I'm playing through this 90s dual rec here. Still a little hot. And one of the things that I've been really I think I talked about this a little bit last time, is I've been spending a lot of time just playing. Still a little hot. A little flat there. The point being is that you will really find, first of all, yesterday I was working on a video that I can't mention what I'm working on, but I'm super excited. I was spending time playing with effects on, effects off, and in particular, I was trying to get this one part to sit right with the drums, and finally I was like, let me take the reverb out, and it really kind of allowed me to find the pocket in a more definitive way. And just as a quick aside, as you're recording, I'm steaming these glasses. As you're recording and playing along with whatever drums, digital or otherwise, pre-recorded with an actual drummer like Albert is in the process of getting ready to do, you really want to, most things you're going to be defining where the time is by the kick drum. That generally, not always, is going to be at the downbeat of 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. And where that kick drum hits is going to define where the rest of the grid is relationally. So that's one thing you want to be able to find is that downbeat and make sure that when we're wanting to sit with the that drum pattern, you're really locking with that kick drum. And reverb I found just kind of like, it's nice and groovy, I love the way it sounds, but it took me a step further away to actually locking in, where it provides this cool ambience. But I was like, you know what? I'm not hearing the transient of the pick attack and the transient of the kick drum, because in part, the reverb is kind of clouding everything that's going. The very thing that we use reverb for actually gets in the way of kind of working on our time. Also, just finally learned my left from my right here. We have a diagram here. At some point, hopefully, my buddy Anton Shred is going to be here, but we also have a little teaching point there for everybody, because one of the ongoing conversations, the topics thereof, is going to be on the note names. And it's a really interesting thing, and this is something that I think is on a lot of people's minds. First of all, whether it's like, do I need to know them? And if I do, well, what good does it really do me? It's like, cool, I know the notes now, but now what, right? So we're going to get to that. Also, we will have a little bit of time with Chris's questions, because he's incredibly generous. All right, let me get caught up here. Wes, what's going on, my man? Digital Viper. The funny thing is that when I think of a dual rectifier, that is not what I... It's not what I think of. All right, so I got a couple other topics up my sleeve. Shredding Finn, what's going on? Good afternoon and good morning to you as well from the West Coast. Where are you coming from, my friend? All right, excellent. Good. A new SD4. Any difference between Superior Drummer 4 when it will appear? That's so funny. So I live in Superior Drummer, but the funny thing is, yesterday, just for pissing giggles, I opened up Easy Drummer 3. And I spend and will be spending today a prolific amount of time hanging out with my Easy Drummer and Superior Drummer friends. So I don't know anything about 4, but I will say I'm a huge fan of their stuff, and I'll leave it there. Shane, good morning to you. I love that nickname. So, first of all, hey, Eric, good morning. So, many of you have been hearing me go on for weeks. But Eric, I'm going to send you your package. So I finally got Eric's package in the mail. So you should be getting that in the next couple of days. Shoot me a message when you have. Okay. East Coast, New York. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love that little profile shot there. Okay. Michael Mitchell, what's happening, my man? I can tell it's still a little hot on the pokey notes. All right, so let me get down to kind of this little bit of business that's over here with a little preface before we get there to Chris's questions, because he's not going to be able to join us today. But I'll tell you what, hang on. Change of mind. There we go. Let me know where it is that you're coming from. But first, coffee. And what it is that you're drinking. I got a Pete's coffee here. Well, espresso, forte. And some muscle milk to build those guitar muscles. Where are you coming from? What are you drinking? Let us know down in the chat there. I would love to know. Okay. So here's the thing. Chris's questions. What are my thoughts on Mesa's All-Tube bass amps? Well, I recently did a demo on their Subway DI preamp, which I absolutely loved. To answer the question, I've never actually used their tube amps. But maybe someday in the future, that will change. All right, when soloing, and I love this, when you were soloing, are you thinking of triads, scales, or something else? My student Jan sent through a message to me. He's in Germany, and it was kind of in the middle of my night, but I kind of saw it when I first got up, and I've been ruminating on it. Apparently, Bach's son was into this thing called, well, I shouldn't say into Fantasia. That sounds a little strange, but it was basically the language they used for improvisation, Fantasia, and apparently he was the greatest improvisationalist of the day, and it really kind of got me thinking about this collection of ideas. One of the things that I love to do here, even at the risk of being vulnerable in terms of, sharing my imperfections, hopefully so others feel more, Steve, got to represent, come on, there we go, and we got a little something going on there in Tacoma. So the thing is that improvisation, to a certain extent, total free improvisation is kind of impossible. But how do we set the template for that to happen, right? And I'm going to gently tie in what we've got here. I'm going to wait and see if Anton Shred shows up. What's going on, Rick? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good morning. You are definitely worthy. And Spencer, good morning to you, my dear friend. Great to see you. Looking newly shorn there, and very sharp, I might add. All right. Matter of fact, let me flip the hair on that note. All right. So here's the thing. To my right, there's a diagram. Oh, sorry. I hit a C sharp instead of a D. And that is a linear interpretation of the E minor pentatonic scale. Now, that bit of madness over there, at some point sooner than later, indeed, we will be joined by the one and only Nandini. And that was inspired by something that Nandini had put together for one of her lessons. Now, what I was not able to pull off this morning that I am looking forward to being able to do is I just threw up a gray background to kind of make it such that you could actually see that transparent ping. But what she had done was she added different shading. You're not going to see my mouse on overlay, but different shading. If you kind of take a look at the G on the sixth string, the G and the A, on the fifth string, the B and the D, and on the fourth string, the E and the G, you're going to see the outline of pattern number 2 of the minor pentatonic. And if you look at the open string and kind of those first named notes, that's going to be pattern number 1, and so on and so forth. So you can see the outline of this. And she had used kind of lines across the page for one pattern and lines down the page for the next pattern, so you could really see in the noise of that bit of business. I tried to do that this morning. I couldn't quite pull it off. But you could see how all that linear business added up to all the lateral note names. And as you're working on improvising, one of the things that's really valuable is having a sense of how the note names translate to scale degree numbers, and how the scale degree numbers translate to note names, and how you begin to combine them together. And to answer Chris's questions, one of the other things I'm working on doing is taking all of that, and I'm also increasingly thinking about, and it's a thing that I'm just at the very edge of, is using chord shapes in the midst of soloing, such as. And there I'm basically outlining that G major triad, and there's a shape of a major third from the 1 to the 3, a minor third from the 3 to the 5, and a perfect fourth from the 5 to the 1. So those, in addition to being intervals, major third, minor third. Yeah, so what is that? Will Rogers? Who was that? So the point being, though, is you begin to harmonize not just the triads, but the little dyads that live in there. There's also little intervallic things, and I've really gotten really into chromaticism. I don't generally like pointed intervallic use that's really dissonant, but I love the use some sort of interesting use of chromaticism that's going to take the listener someplace unexpected. And so I'm really going to be spending a lot of time working with triad shapes. So this is would you please behave? Of course, the moment I start tuning the tuner battery, or it's going to immediately go into auto off, but I want this to be relatively in tune. Thank you. So the deal is, if I take that G major triad, I've got basically root position, first inversion, second inversion, and then the octave. That's 3 major third, minor third, perfect fourth, major third, minor third. So those shapes. Even with just a little bit of chromaticism on those shapes, and I know there's a bunch of stuff that, especially you add a soupy amount of delay and reverb, you can get some really. So there I just want 1, 2, flat 3, 3, and instead of playing them together as a dyad initially, by playing the root and then hitting the 2, the flat 3. There you go, Marty Robbins. Thank you. Sorry, don't know my Marty Robbins from my Hank Williams. Sorry. There we go. Okay. 2 RC used roadster for so long. How does a dual rec compare tonally? So there, I'm going to briefly jump back to the chords here for a quick second. This is just a phenomenal amplifier. And, you know, this. In any case, case, it's just a great amp. I prefer it. It's a dramatically better amp in a number of ways, with the exception of the cabinet switching and the other stuff. All right, getting back to this chord thing and this note thing, knowing that that's GBD, BDG, and DGB, and GBD, means we actually know what those notes are, and we know how they relate to each other. It also means that I'm aiming, if that's GBD, I'm aiming for the B, I'm aiming for the D, and I'm aiming for the G. Which, when we're making kind of shifts up and down the neck, it's important to be able to see how the different, as you're kind of moving from one area to the next, not just thinking, all right, I'm going to be going from my third finger on the 5th fret to the 9th fret to the 12th fret to the 15th fret. I'm actually going, hey, I'm aiming for this G, I'm aiming for this B, I'm aiming for this D, and I'm aiming for that G. So I'm really thinking about the chord tones, and that allows me to just kind of go, all right, I'm looking for the lowest note in this chord, GBD, BDG, DGB, GBD, and just makes it a little bit easier to navigate the neck. Now, a minute ago, that's gonna. So there, I'm taking that G major in first inversion. That's basically 3, 5, 1, and I'm kind of flatting 3. Flatting the 5, and they're kind of the natural 7. So maybe I'm going. There you go. So I'm going to a little D major triad, and then I'm going to that, kind of do a little walk. So there's stuff to be done around those shapes. So increasingly those are working into what I'm doing. Now as I'm soloing, let's say a name, explain. I'm thinking, first of all, as a reference point, A major scale A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Well, the mixed linear scale, instead of a natural 7, it's got a flat 7. So instead of going A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, it goes A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A. And kind of that flat 7, 1, 3, maybe the 4, is a good way, and maybe bending the 5, to kind of initially kind of get that sound of the mixed linear mode. So basically that's G, A, C sharp, D, and E. So I can find G's. And so I've also turned that into a shape. And then because I can think of it as A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, and because I spend so much time in whatever mode in A, and I kind of, sorry, that was a C instead of a C sharp, and And again, kind of working with that little chromaticism. And now I'm walking up from the 5 to the flat 7. And bending it from the flat 7 to the 1. So one of the other things that's happening here, Chris, to answer your question, is something that I refer to as the modal string pairing. And basically, if you went to the key of G major and took the first 6 notes of each of the 3-note string modes, you end up with basically the 1 shape. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 1. Noting the first 6 notes of the major and the first 6 notes of mixed linears, we noticed a minute ago: A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A is the major scale, natural 7. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, flat 7 for mixed Lydian. Major, mixed Lydian. So the idea is that I'm taking back in G major, and that's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and I can plug that in. Here's my transpose from C Lydian to basically G Lydian, because A mixed Lydian, major Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, mixed Lydian is the 5. That's 5. I guess that's 4. So the idea is 4, 5, 6, and now we just plug that in on the different pairs of strings. So as I'm hanging out on the high E string, I'm thinking of this shape right here. That's the 1 of A mixed Lydian. That's the 2 and the 3. That's the flat 7, 6, and 5. And so I can think of that shape right there. If we think about back in G major, that's the 2 shape. 3, 4, 5, 6. By the way, memorize the sound of your open strings when you're working on stuff like this. So when you hear that go, or hear it just, there we go. So let me get it. Well, that was the B string. But as I was leaving, I was trying to get there. You go. That open G string to ring. There we go. I got it there again. And the next time, I move my right hand closer towards the 3rd string. And that silenced that unwanted open string noise. So this guy's kind of cruising around 2 strings below whatever note I'm fretting, muting the lower adjacent strings. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And so at a certain point, you just kind of memorize these. And, you know, because we know the notes are A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A. There's E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, and A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, and C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A. The other thing, you can take these string pairs and move them around. So basically I'm at the 6 relative to the relative major of A mixed Lydian, which is going to be D major, and basically I'm taking B minor, if you will, the first 6 notes. Hold on, let's try that again. That, by the way, is a great example of a great place to go. All right, we had... Hold on. There you go, that little bit of TLC. That's basically the second string of, and the first string of, And looping is a great way to kind of fine tune that little spot there. All right. So the point being is this modal string pairing business, G major, as in G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, is a great place and great way to start that. All right, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and G, A, B, C, D, E. And that just kind of allows you to think of those shapes as scale degree numbers and also associate them that they're started at G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So if you know you're someplace at an E, for example, and we know the E is the G, A, B, C, D, E, the 6, we can just cut and paste that guy. It's a really cool way to just be able to slice and dice the neck. So getting back to Chris's question, when I'm soloing, am I thinking of triads? Yes. Am I thinking of shapes? Yes. Am I thinking of note names? Yes. GBD, BDG, DGB, and GBD. Am I thinking of scale degree numbers? 135, 351, 513, 135. Yes. And am I thinking of chromaticism? Absolutely. Although that wasn't necessarily the question. That's one of the things I'm thinking about. And all that stuff is at play. All right, let me get caught up on the chat here real quick. Good. Steve, what's going on, my man? How are you? Can I speak to a Mixolydian chord progression? Absolutely. Oh, Jonathan, always something good. I can't wait when you get there. So instant Mixolydian, and I do this all the time, and I will do it again. If you were to think about the triad chords for the key of G major, and by the way, Albert, I got a little something coming for you a little bit later on that as well. So basically, if you took the notes of G major, as in G, hold to A, hold to B, F to C, hold to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, F to G, and I'm going to be out of here at 10 o'clock this morning. I've got some stuff I got to take care of. So I'm going to go fast. So again, G, hold to A, hold to B, F to C, hold to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, F to G, as in G, hold to A, hold to B, F to C, hold to D, hold to E, hold to F sharp, F to G. And if we take the third note, as in G, A, B, G, A, B, so that's B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B. And we take the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth note, G, A, B, C, D. All right, so we take the D as in D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. And we take G, B, D, A, C, E, B, D, F sharp, C, E, G, D, F sharp, A, E, G, B, F sharp, A, C, and G, B, D. Collective known as G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished, and G major. And we were to take that and think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. The only place you got two major chords to hold stuff. All right. Would be the 4 and the 5. So the deal is if I kind of go. And you don't have to add the sus4, but basically I'm taking the 4 chord, playing it over the bass note of the 5, and that you could think of that as G over A to A, not like that. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and I don't know why I'm anticipating. I just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that's kind of almost like a D, even though I'm doing an A sus4. That's G major, A major. That instead of going 1 3 5, that 1 4 5 is a sus4. But if I go there, if I go. Almost sounds like the difference between A sus4 and D over A, pretty close. Now, another approach. You know, I have to throw a little riffage in. All right, you can just go. That's a great little grouping of notes. And we talked about this little shape. That flat 7, 1, 3, 4, which is going to be G, A, C sharp, D. You can apply any rhythm you want, but basically that's the low E string just for a little color. You can also then take that. I hit a C instead of a C sharp. I take the same concept of that kind of, and if A is the 5, major, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, mixed Lydian. G is going to be the 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. And I kind of went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 3 shape. And I could hear that was going to be the 3 of that A mixed Lydian. That is to say 1, 3, 5, A, C sharp, and E. To get back to Chris's question, I'm also listening, right? So I'm kind of like, oh, I just kind of instinctively went, and that's how we get there. But the point being is this little guy, if you instead of thinking about, you just truncated the top notes off, and just turn these instead of 6-note groupings like that. And turn those into little 4-note groupings like that. Oh, awesome. Okay. Oh, excellent, Jonathan. Good to know that. But those little 4-note groupings, there's a kind of John McLaughlin used to do a thing. And basically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's 2 6s. That is, say I'm going, you can actually do it down here. Basically, I've got D and C sharp, G and A. So I play the D and C sharp, and then the A and the G, the D and the C sharp twice, once. So that's twice, once, twice, once, once. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, as in 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So basically 6 and 6 is 12 plus 4 is 16. So that is to say 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, which, by the way, Chris, to get the other thing, I'm thinking about rhythm. So as much as I'm kind of doing these 2 groups of 6, and then this group of 4, really 6 and 6 is 12, plus 4 is 16, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4, sorry, I didn't finish it, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, which is to say that it's probably a really good idea. And the funny thing is I'm kind of baking this pentatonic course cake. I'm trying to go, well, if I had a pentatonic cake and I sliced it into all the different pieces and then took a piece and then pulled it apart into all its little kind of ingredients, what are those ingredients? Including when we go to solo. One, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. There's was eighth note triplets, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And then 16 note triplets, which I don't have a language for other than a, so the point being is that is about as fast a figure as I would play using a triplet feel with the pentatonic. And that's 16th note triplets. Well, if we don't know what 16th note triplets are, we don't kind of know what we're shooting for, right? Because the whole point is that, and more importantly, when we, kind of made a rule that my timekeeper lives right here on my desk, and this is by most people known as phone, and that is by many people is known as Melissa Doppler. But in addition to that, there we go. This guy just lives there. And so the point being is that kind of my timekeeper always lives there waiting to instruct me. And if I don't know, for example, what subdivision I'm going for, I don't know what subdivision I'm going for. And it also doesn't kind of allow me to go and go, hey, if I want to get my whatever figure that faster or slower, that's flipping fast. That's 16 note triplets at 160 BPM, which I can't quite nail. But the idea is then you kind of go, okay, well, then I have a new exercise to practice, which, by the way, means I have a new exercise to practice, which I love. By the way, I also was doing something there that, Jonathan, you picked up on, and I love that. It's called the subdivision method, and it's one of my favorite speed and technique building tools, which is basically you take whatever rhythmic subdivision you're playing at, you play it twice as fast, twice as many times. So that is to say, that's one measure worth of, sorry. So basically the first two beats were eighth note triplets, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And the second two beats were, so twice as fast, twice as many times, makes the duration same as in, so on and so forth. It's a great way to really kind of go, where is my speed really at? And if we're really working to build our 16th note triplets, which is one of the things that I'm missional about, and I want to be able to, one of the things I noticed about my playing that I kind of went, oh, I need to fix this, was my ability play a crap ton of the same notes over and over ad nauseum. Kind of like generally my minimum is 4, but 8 is a good place to kind of go, can I play it at the rate that I want to 8 times in a row perfectly? And if I can't, it means I got to get to work on it. It means that something else is going on, which is where going down, and this is where you have to be willing to be humble with yourself. $80, $85, $90. Obviously, hinting I'm going up and down the neck. $95. And $100. And the idea is I'm just kind of, what's happened for me, and I want to share this with you because chances are you're doing a bunch of the same things, is that over the years I've allowed certain areas of my playing to kind of go purposely unpracticed and things I'm just going to, I tell you what, I can see there's a nice collection of people in the room. So first of all, if we haven't met, my name is Doug. Thanks so much for hanging out. And those of you that I already know, hey. All right, so here's the deal. I know for a fact that there are things that you could make a list, and I want you to make a list of, these are the things that I kind of like, I don't practice those, I should. And so what I've started doing is actually going, I actively make a list of those things, and I go, actually, I'm going to actively practice them, because it's kind of the guy that I study social media with. His name is Cam. He's the guy that does Gibbs Sunday, and he's also the community manager for Mesa Boogie and Gibbs, and he's awesome. But one of the things he talks about is kind of the algorithm, the way that if a post has a certain amount of success, it goes down a doorway and opens up a hallway and opens up a door. And if it continues to grow in success, it goes down hallway after hallway, and each door becomes a little bit more complicated to open as you kind of have a post begin to take off. And so the thing is, what begins to happen is it's not just the things that are complicated that we avoid doing, it's the hallway that's beyond there of the next things that if we don't go to that door and open it up, there's all that stuff. It's what I call spillover. And it's one of my favorite things about meticulous practicing. I'm just kind of watching something that I didn't necessarily think was related to the pentatonic, or something that I was doing with the pentatonic that I didn't necessarily think was related to my modal practicing or my modal playing. And I went, oh, I was practicing this other thing, and I came back to this thing, and I'm better at this. So I really want to encourage you to work on that. So what does that look like? Well, let's just say, for example, we're going to use the G. Sorry, I knew what I was thinking. You didn't. So let's just say we take the G major 3-note per string mode. The 3-note on each string. Aren't that's the flipping hard part. So like, now the deal is, there I'm basically taking of G, A, B, C, D, E, the transition between the G, A, B, that B, that is, say, the third note of G, A, B, and the first note of C, D, E, that B and the C. And then the same thing when we get to that E and that F sharp, and that A and B, and that D and E, and that G and A, and flip it around. And to be a total dickhead, well, instead of just doing it down, up, that's right, up, down. So on and so forth, because that way we're flipping it around, because there will be times, and this is one of the biggest mistakes, oh, we dropped 5 there. They're like, I don't want to practice the hard stuff. Out of here. All right. Or they were like, I already know how to do that. In any case, for the rest of you, here's the deal. That's the sort of stuff that really slows down our fast playing. It's the transitions. And by the way, yes, you should be doing it on every one of these. So that is to say, you could do it laterally or linearly. So that's a B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C. Thank you for whoever gave me the thumbs up there. And that will just kind of, and when you go back to, you'll be like, oh, snap. Now that also goes for this guy. This little group of 6, this right here, that little sucker right there. So I spent some time with that one, literally doing what you saw me doing with 80 BPM. There's a lovely Yiddish term called schwutz, which basically it sounds like poop, because, well, this, well, we don't get that clean sounds like poop. And the deal is that's that guy. And when you get, there's a little extra kind of pick rattle that you get when I'm going. You don't notice the pick noise as much because the notes are longer. But when you do notice the pick noise a little bit more, so it means I need to line up. Need to work on that a little bit. Slow it down. still a little bit in process, but the point being is that that little transition right there, coming back from that C to that B there, that down, up, down, that note, it's a downstroke, and we have a tendency, if we're not careful, clobber that note. So the point being is spending some time just with the metronome. So basically what we're doing is we got G, A, B, C, D, E, and we're going G, A, B, B, A, G, G, A, B, C, B, A, and then G, A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's really the one I want to have nice and tight, because that's the bottom string that that's the one that's pesky and it wants to make noise. I'm like, okay, the only way I'm going to fix this is slow it down and actually fixing it. And that's the sort of practice that if you're serious about kind of getting rid of the slop, that's kind of how you just go about doing it. All right. Slice of pentatonic cake in E minor, especially since Tony has joined us, most definitely. Was it the FedEx looking I was telling you about yesterday morning? My friend said no, it wasn't a boogie, but it had something about it too. You may figure you may figure it out or head south. I can just tell you how. Let me know. By the way, it looks like a great show. Got you in the car on a high volume. Let's go, Doug. All right, awesome. Albert, I was just looking to ask about a 3-note per string stretch exercise. Laugh it out. No need now. Awesome. Okay, so per this little bit of business over here to my right, and although Anthony, you can't see it, basically what it's doing is taking the notes of the minor pentatonic and playing them, because you're driving, so I'm not going to ask you to look at the phone, and playing them linearly on each string. Sorry, you actually got to play a B there instead of a C. And so here's the thing, it's kind of look at the neck like this, right? But one of the first ways, okay, backing up a step. My name is Doug, D-O-U-G, backwards that's G-U-O-D. Minor pentatonic's got 5 letters. Oh, thanks, Eric, great to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. So the minor pentatonic's got 5 note names in it. So if you can go, I don't know, E, G, A, B, D, you can probably just as well get used to going D, B, A, G, E. Just kind of get used to going up and down that scale, forwards and backwards. And literally you could just take pattern number 1 at the 12th fret here, and just the first 6 notes there. And E, G, A, B, D, E, and I'm adding the octave there. E, D, G, E, D, B, A, G, E, E, G, A. Sorry, I'm going to start off slowly. E, G, A, B, D, E, E, D, B, A, G, E, E, G, A, B, D, E, E, D, B, A, G, E, E, G, A, B, D, E, E, D, B, A, G, E. And that way we're really kind of just getting used to just thinking about those notes. So then, guess what? Pattern number 2 starts off the second note. So if this was E, G, A, B, D, E, I guess it's going to be G, A, B, D, E, G. And this is going to be A, B, G, E, D, A. And this is going to be B, D, E, G, A, B. And this is going to be D, E, G, A, B, D. And this is going to be E, G, B, A, E, G, A, B, D, E. So the point being is you're like, well, that's not that hard. And literally I'm just going blah, 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 blah. That is to say, I'm starting at the E, E, G, A, B, D, E. Then I'm starting at the G, G, A, B, D, E, G. And I'm starting the A, B, D, E, G, A. So I'm literally like A, B, D, E, G, A. That's not that hard. You just kind of play the shape E, G, A, B, D, E. You play the shape G, A, B, D, G, E, G. Second guessed myself. Never a good idea. G, B, A, G, A, B, D, E, G. Then I should have second guessed myself. A, B, D, E, G, A. B, D, E, G, A, B. D, E, G, A, B, D. E, G, A, B, D, E. And it just kind of cycles through. But that way you're actually plugged into the notes. So why that matters, that's an E minor chord. And that's an E, G, and a B. So the neat thing, if you kind of hang out, and that's just basically an 8th note triplet. I'm going up to the octave. And you can just go G, A, B, D, E, E, D, B, A, G. And still in E minor pentatonic, we'll do it for A. We're going to get B, D, E, G, A, G, E, D, B. Still in E, E, G, A, B, sorry, E, G, A. I played a C. E, G, A, B, D, D, B, A, G, E. Still in E, G, B, D, E, G, G, E, D, B, A. And still in E, D, E, G, A, B, B, A, G, E, D. And still in E, G, A, B, D, E, E, D, B, A, G. But it's a great way to get yourself used to just thinking of the note names to drive that. And the great thing is we take the second and third notes on each of those strings and wait, and the third and fourth, and we end up, and so on and so forth. So that allows us to kind of take the linear. Sorry, I hit that C again. And that gave us I'm going to go the other way. That's going to be giving you basically B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, D, B, B, D, A, G, E, D, B, A, G, E, D, B. But instead of just playing the shape, we kind of can go, hey, you know what? I got there. That's the B and the D. All right. Oh, that's the E and the G. All right. All right. That's going to be the A and the B. And that's going to be the D and the E. Sorry, I hit an F sharp. That's going to be the G and the A. And that's the B and the D again. Right. I'm basically going up, down, up in pairs. Tell that to my fingers. Up, down, up, down, up. Up, down, 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 down, up, down, down, up, down, down. That's I'm taking that pair of notes. Up, down, up. All right. Hey, Eric, great to see you. Sorry about how long it took me to get your care package to you, but it's my pleasure that it's finally on its way. Okay. I am glad that I'm here as well, but I am especially glad that you're here. Nice to see you on the downhill slope of one of those speed bumps of life. All right. Hey, look, I'm going to get out of here. It's about to turn 10 o'clock here in California. I've got a bunch of stuff I need to do around something I can't talk about, and then I'm going to be gone. No Gear Garage until September 22nd. Gosh, that sounds like it's a long time away. But I will be extra practiced up, I promise. And I will miss you dearly. I'll thank you guys on Saturday morning. But in any case, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and again, thank you so much for making my Saturday. You know, the thing about a community, when you do the sorts of things that I do and put the time and energy into what you do, and having the blessing of a group of people that are interested in what you're doing, which for me is primarily because I'm interested in what you're doing, it's an incredible feeling of community, and it's something that you can't fake. It's something that you want desperately, and so it matters a lot. Thank you. There we go. No, I was not going to be able to get that. Congratulations. There we go. Enjoy, my friend. Oh, that's awesome. Killer, killer, killer. All right, everybody, much love. I'll see you on September 22nd. Until then, make it a great one. By the way, this little pentatonic diagram, if you send me an email, DougDopplerMusic@gmail, and put pentatonic thing in the subject line, I'll know what you want and I'll send that to you. It would be my pleasure. In any case, have a great one. Thanks again. See you on September 22nd. Sonny, love you too, my man. Michael, 922, Jonathan, Albert. Oh, no. Try it. It's like the people that go out, before the concert's over. So the couple have wandered out. So Albert, these are those triads. I'm basically going pick, freeway finger, pick, ring finger. Basically 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a... All right, on that note, I'll see you on the flip side. Have fun with that, Albert. Cheers. And everybody else. I say it's for Albert because he's the guy that is always the enthusiast of the hybrid picking. And it always gets me thinking about it, which, again, is one of the many things I love about this and you. I'll see you on the flip side, September 22nd. Thanks again.